Welcome to Figure Skating Land. I am your host, Jilly, a neuropsychologist and figure skating enthusiast. Join me this week as I discuss NHK Trophy and share figure skating news for the week. Japan's NHK Trophy was an overall wonderful and wholesome figure skating event, and it was acting as an unsung hero for Americans who really needed distraction this week. The Japanese Skating Federation held a beautiful event in the capital city of Tokyo as us fans welcomed this beautiful kiss and cry after weeks of cardboard lotion bottles, an angry moose, and a kiss and cry in France that required climbing a ladder to enter. The skaters received real medals in Japan and were welcomed by the most adorable mascot ever that I want a toy of. The packed Yoyogi National Gymnasium represented the Japanese audience's sheer enthusiasm for figure skating, a contagious enthusiasm that really made this event shine. Over the weekend, many skaters remarked about how much support the audience demonstrated and how special it was to look out and view a sea of flags waving amongst the stands after their performances. And Japanese skaters rightfully dominated this Grand Prix event and affirmed my love for these dedicated Japanese skaters' skating skills. While the technical panel was tough, panel results were fairly consistent across skaters and disciplines, though with one exception, which we'll discuss shortly. Overall, this event felt like a delightful dream for Oscar and I as our eyes became too heavy to continue watching this ice around 1 a.m. We were utterly delighted by this event on a well-rested next day watch though. I tried hard the first night to power through and watch it in its entirety in real time. I fell asleep during the rhythm dance right as Madison Chock and Evan Bates took the ice. Then I woke up to turn on the pairs and then immediately fell asleep for whatever reason, awakened again for Jason Brown, only to fall asleep mid-Yuma and then managed to watch the last three women in the short program. I learned from my mistakes and only slightly disrupt my sleep the next day. But anyway, let's get to it. Let's talk about
Trophy. NHK. Trophy. NHK Trophy.
First, let's discuss the ice dance event. So this event was not as full of surprises as Skate America and Grand Prix de France, though many of us were delighted with new refinements and redemption skates from many skaters. Maddie and Evan came first, Christina and Anthony in second, and Allison and Salois in third. This was Chock and Bates' first time winning NHK. Before then, they were silver medalists in 2021 behind Victoria and Nikita, and 2022 behind Lawrence and Nikolai. Maddie and Evan shared with the Golden Skate that this was a new milestone for them and that they were so delighted to perform well for such an amazing, joyful crowd in Japan. Not only was this a huge win for them as their first NHK, but it was also a much-needed redemption from Skate America, where Maddie's unexpected fall resulted in a silver medal, and I'm still shook about it. But anyway, as we all know, momentum throughout the season unfortunately heavily influences judging in ice dance. They earned their way to the Grand Prix finale, and I'm curious to see how their scores will compare with Piper and Paul's. And as we all know, it is difficult to make predictions based on scores from different competitions, so Maddie and Evan did earn a 215.95 here, while Piper and Paul earned a 214.84 at Skate Canada, which is an event that has historically been known to inflate scores for Canadians, provide some unrealistic expectations, unfortunately, for how the remaining season will go. Maddie and Evan definitely refined, though, both of their programs since Skate America, and it made us Chock and Bates fans already dreaming of win number 3 at a home Worlds. With their rhythm dance, they reduced their total songs from 11 down to 8, as you can see here. They removed a Madison, which kind of sucks because that was a cool tongue-in-cheek thing for Maddie. They also removed a song about Lucy and in the Nitty Gritty. The first time I saw this program at Skate America, it felt chaotic, but since the removal of these songs accompanied by a clean skate, it felt much more refined. And now I'm able to join them on their journey of taking us through all the social dances through the decades. This program, though, does require high energy, which when done well can get the crowd excited, but also means they need to be able to consistently keep up this energy energy throughout the season. Another thing that I really liked about the rhythm dance is they even include a mini lift in their choreographic sequence, and that was awesome. As for their free dance, this was a marked improvement since the first outing at Skate America. This program really showcased their musicality and artistry through a jazz routine. When I first heard that they were not going to be doing their usual unique and abstract free dances this year, I was worried because when they initially had a more simpler themed free dance in 2022, before they transformed it to the fire and dance, it just really fell flat. This performance, though, really squashed those fears of mine, and as it was exquisite, and I agree with Chris's take that it was transformative. Just as Chris discussed how it took him to a different time and place, it took me back to any time I went to a local bar in grad school that had jazz night, and how at the time I thought I'd be hanging out in jazz bars when I'm an adult, which is not true. But anyway, as always for this program, though, the leg slides Maddie does look effortless. That final lift of theirs was incredibly unique and fit beautifully with the program. Overall, I love this program, and I think that it is going to be such a huge hit at Worlds, and I can't wait to see it. And now on to Christina and Anthony. This was Christina and Anthony's first Grand Prix medal since Skate America in 2020, and they had placed 4th at the Grand Prix series last season. They showed here why they're becoming US's #2 ice dance team. They overall are beginning to look more polished. Their skating quality has improved, and I was impressed with how close they're even able to skate to one another. As for their rhythm dance, as I've mentioned previously in other videos, it's been difficult for me to become a fan of this year's rhythm dance theme, so it's hard for me to fully embrace a 50 sock hop program, though I can appreciate elements of this program. This is another program that requires high energy, and they're able to maintain that level of energy generally needed in the beginning. And one thing that was really noticeable is when they went into their twizzles, they had so much speed. It does seem a little bit, though, as the program progresses, they have some difficulty keeping up. But overall, this is a good rhythm dance for this year's theme. As for their free dance, they have made so many improvements with this program compared to Nebahorn Trophy. She appears way more confident lately skating to a more sultry style of program. Their chemistry and connections program has improved, but I also completely forgot about the kiss at the end of the program. It was shook for a little bit. One thing that I did notice is they're able to quickly change directions, and they had so much speed again going into their twizzles, and their lunge lift was so powerful. Overall, they did an amazing job this weekend, building a case for themselves for getting to attend a home Worlds. And in third place was Allison and Salouis. They seemed much more sharper here than they did at Grand Prix France, which was only a week ago. They have been building momentum, though, with each competition. So their performance to Do You Think I'm Sexy here showcased a playful yet sophisticated style, and they overall had improvements in their levels compared to GP France. They were able to maintain a strong connection with one another while also engaging the audience throughout the entire program. They generally had clean edges, though I did think it was amusing because as they were talking about on the slow-mo, the clean edges, you kind of see a little bit of wobble. So their twizzles were speedy and synchronized as well, which stuck out to me, and which is great because they both earned level 4 twizzle sequences, which were level 3 at GP France. As for their free dance, compared to last week's Grand Prix of France, their depiction of the puppet master and his puppet was much more dramatic and powerful. It just overall seemed really refined and much more put together. So their intricate lifts and movements aligned perfectly with the music, and the judges must have agreed as they earned their season's best with 117.61. They also had good quality edges and great speed. I'm hoping as the season goes on that their choreograph gets more dramatic. Another team I wanted to talk about was Green and Parsons. So this outing for them made me feel hopeful because it felt as if they're on their way to returning a little bit to the momentum that they had during the 2021 and 2022 season. Their lifts look so much better this season than last season, though their lift and the rhythm dance does not look as effortless as it does for the other teams. I like their free dance a lot more than their rhythm dance, as modern dance seems to really suit them well. Their slide chorus sequence in the free dance was effortless, and I must say, though, that I feel this program could benefit with some kind of intensity added in the music, as it kind of does fall a little bit flat as it goes on. But overall, though, I feel like this is an improvement compared to how they presented in maybe even like last year and earlier competitions. And I also cannot wrap up the ice dance without talking about Yuka and Joho from Finland. As I mentioned in my Budapest Trophy video, I absolutely love this team. And I know I'm going to complain about camp and campy energy for other teams, but I love them because this campy energy. They are so joyful to watch that I don't even care what their technical content is or even what they skate to. Like, they could skate to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and they would make it fantastical. So in their rhythm dance, their pattern step levels really hurt them and dropped them to a 26.88 base value. But they had their redemption skate in the free dance, and oh my God, I just love that skate. I love everything about these people. Like, can we see more of them? Please come to Worlds. I'm going to say this every time I watch them. And now on to the pairs event. This was a much more enjoyable pairs event than GP France. So many teams with strong performances. The skaters on the podium were not surprising, but there were definitely a surprise in terms of placement. So in first place were Anastasia and Luke from Georgia. Second was Riku and Richie from Japan. And third was Ellie and Danny from America. Riku and Richie dropped from first to second in the free dance after a mistake during their spin and a double-footed landing. It is disappointing that the mistake was that costly, because to be honest, their power and dynamic are worlds above the Georgian team who came in first, which let's get into discussing their individual performances. As for the first place winners, Anastasia and Luca, this was a much better outing for them compared to Skate America, where they ended up coming in fourth. We didn't have the surprise jolt of an Atari kiss and cry during this competition. They have a shot at making it to the Grand Prix final with their win here. So with their short program, they were in second place after the short program. Their short program overall is technically solid, especially their triple twists. One thing I wondered about is how they look speed-wise in an arena, because even on TV, their speed is solid. As technically sound as their program is, though, it's really hard to get past the gimmickiness, and I can't decide for me if they were to change costumes, if maybe that gimmickiness would just kind of die down. Now, I know I said it earlier, I loved camp, but this was not the camp that was just well done like the ice dance team. They had another technically sound program for their free program. They also, I think, got rid of the unexplained Frankenstein splash to it, but their theme is still never really explained. There's like so far no explanation for why a random hood goes on over at the end. Is it about the death? Is it about the crypt keeper? No one knows. I mean, I'm sure someone knows, but I need to Google it and I don't have time to Google it. Like, I should be able to watch a program and go, oh, this is what this is. So they need to just come out with a press release about this or something. So this was a technically sound program and they deserved their technical score, but their PCS of 67.34 was a massive score. The most artistic thing that happened was that unclear jump rope motion that happened. Now, I'm not saying that I dislike this program or even dislike this team, but it is really jarring to see them in comparison with the Japanese team. So on to second place, which is Riku and Raichi. So despite falling to second place, their programs here demonstrated that it is going to be such an exciting pairs competition in Boston this year, and I absolutely cannot wait to watch it in person. They zoom across the ice with such an intensity that matches their programs, and their programs this year are so masterfully done that it doesn't even look like they're ticking off the ISJ's requirements through a checklist, which, you know, usually you can sometimes see like, oh my gosh, especially this year with pairs, that they're just kind of going through a checklist. So here's this random ass move I have to do. They don't look like that. I enjoy their programs this year, and I think their short program is so amazing because Shaylin Bourne does it. It is perfect for them. Their intensity in the short program is also just so perfect because it honestly matches their personalities. So their short program was captivating as they just zoom across the ice to paint it black. They are on such a different level compared to many of the other teams. I almost completely forgot about that mistake where she two-footed the triple toe loop, as everything was just amazingly done. Like, I know I keep talking about their speed and flow, but it really is like no other team. In fact, even before that mistake, I almost missed it because I was thinking to myself, that is an intricate transition into those jumps. And then also one thing that I wanted to point out about their short program is they really do a perfect unison for side-by-side spins, like perfect. They dropped from first place to second after the free program after a surprising error in the spins and another two-footed landing. So he had mentioned in an interview that his skate got caught in a groove, which isn't good, but it's still good because I know many of us, including myself, were worried that maybe a prior back injury was acting up during that spin. So again, even with the mistakes in the free program, it was so enjoyable to watch as they just had this wonderful blend of technical prowess and just artistic expression. And their lifts were particularly noteworthy because it was just complex, but also had these seamless transitions. I absolutely adore them. I think every year I become more of a bigger fan for them. And I really want to see this Painted Black program, their short program, in person. I mean, their free program also, but I absolutely love their short program. Like, I think for them, the best thing for them is something intense because she puts on her fight face, and I absolutely adore her fight face. And I think like a fighting intensity style program makes them ready to rumble, and it makes them just interesting characters to watch. And so I know I've been also talking about how much I'm excited to see them at Worlds, but even on the TV, I'm excited to see them at the Grand Prix final. And I'm excited to see how all these awesome pair skaters do together. Like, we've been seeing them separate, but I really want to see Deanna and Max and the Japanese team and so many others. Like, I am ready for this showdown like no other. I love all the teams, so it's going to be very hard for me to watch because it's going to be hard for me to root. I love the Japanese team and Deanna and Max so much. So I'm just going to let it like the thing fall and end up where they land. Ellie and Danny came in number 3, and they are such a different team this year, particularly Ellie. Like, they skate with so much confidence that we didn't see last season, and definitely Ellie does. Like, I cannot underscore this enough. Like, I talked about this in my Skate America video, just about how she has this presence now that just commands, like, I'm going to land these jumps and I'm going to do it awesomely. And I can do this now. Like, whatever they've been doing, whatever they've been doing to work on, it is working. So with their short program, I found myself tearing up at how well they did. They just keep showing how much improvements they've made. The fact they received positive GOE on their throw, which is a huge accomplishment, like huge. She just looks so strong and confident out there, and it is so amazing to witness. And also, they looked like they were skating so much faster than some of the teams that skated before them. And for their free program, although it was not flawless, it still reflected the upward trajectory this season, because although there were mistakes on the throws, in the past, I feel like we would have saw like the whole program kind of go under when it comes to jumps, and it didn't. Like, they did not fail. So they were able to land their side-by-side jumps without difficulty. So despite the errors, though, once again, their amazing lifts are able to really pull us into the performance, and I just think their lifts are such a huge strength for them and so powerful to see in person. Like, I can't wait to go to nationals, and I hope they make it to Worlds so I can see these in person again. And I am just overall so proud of how this Grand Prix series went for them, and I hope they're able to see all the positive changes they've made. And now on to the men's event. So compared to last week, the men had minimal minning during this event. I am still heartbroken for Cal and was gutted to see his reaction to his performance in the kiss and cry after the free skate, but overall this event was not as messy as last week. So in first place was Yuma, second place was Daniel, and in third place was Tatsuya. So I don't agree with these standings at all. Yuma was, of course, 100% rightfully in the first place. Tatsuya should have been in second, and Andrew should have been in third. The technical calls throughout this whole entire Grand Prix have been incredibly strict across all disciplines except for Daniel Grassl. But for whatever reason, we don't know why, but I'll get into that in a little bit more detail here in a little bit. So this was Yuma's first Grand Prix of the year, and it was successful for him. He is just such a mesmerizing skater. His skating skills are like no other. The deep knee bends and deep edges, and he was able to break a 300 here, which is a huge accomplishment for him. So for his short program, he opened up with this beautiful quad Salchow. He just floated into the remaining jumps and received a level 4 on everything. His spins look so effortless, which is more difficult with these new rules about about how their spins must go. And his arm movements and his choreography, especially at the end of his program, were just so beautiful. I love this short program for him. And for his free program, he added an unexpected fall, but it really didn't matter to me because the rest of his program was such a treat to watch. And he just floated into the rest of the jumps. And I just cannot get over his transitions, his landings. But overall, like his step sequence in the end is also fun to watch because he enjoys it. The crowd enjoyed it. Like it was just wonderful. So I can't even hardly remember that there was that fall, except it was pretty like raw sounding, but that's not what sticks out to me. What sticks out to me is just the beauty in this program. And so I can't wait to see him at his next outing, and I hope, and I'm pretty sure he will make it to the final. So Daniel Grassl came in second place, and I actually almost forgot for like a split second that he came in second place, even though I was just grumbling about it, and I actually started to make the video for the third place winner as a second place winner. But anyway, so I was surprised to wake up and see him on the podium, and actually almost just being a little dramatic. It's not the extent of like when you woke up and found the election news. But anyway, so for his short program, he had a fluke fall in it. He does have some interesting spins, and his quad loop was under rotated. And so it was an okay program, but it shouldn't have been above Matteo, and I don't understand why it was above Matteo. And so for the free program, this is where I get irritated. So the tech panel, they didn't review his quad Lutz or his quad loop, which looked at a Q, and then his quad Salchow looked clearly under, and it got called clean. And so this is really confusing to me because every skater just about got something called at a quarter or an under. I mean, this technical panel was not playing. They were just like noping everyone left and right. So everyone else was harshly called except for him. And another thing that I don't understand is why in the free program did he get 80.18 PCS? So yes, he does have like some flexibility and unique spins, but he just kind of hunches. He's just a huncher. He hunches through everything the whole time. And apparently this was a ballet program. Who would have freaking known? I mean, yeah, it just wasn't the essence of a ballet, but somehow that is an 80.18 PCS. I have no idea. I'm personally offended. Why? And I think what makes this so hard is we still don't know what happened when it came to the doping tests and him being out for a bit and coming up missing. Well, not really missing, but when it came to trying to get the doping test done, he was nowhere to be found. And suddenly he's back in it with no explanation. And so it really makes it hard to root for him when we just don't know what happened, and they're just kind of acting like nothing happened. And our honorary silver medalist, which was really a bronze medalist, was Tatsuya. So the flow of his programs are so beautiful. And not only does he have this amazing flow and the typical Japanese wonderful knee bend and edges, his jumps just appear out of nowhere. And so for his short program, he opened up with this beautiful, huge quad Salchow in the program. And his triple axel was huge, and the combination was just this amazing flow. Like, I cannot just get over what a beautiful skater he is. And I don't know why I haven't seen him more in life. And so this was just an amazing short program. And so his free program was both technically sound and, except for some under rotations, and just overall such musicality and artistic. So his step sequence was a level 3, the flying spin was a 3, but everything else was a 4. And so I know I'm going to keep griping, but from a viewer standpoint, it was jarring when he did this beautiful program with such flow to his jumps and just amazing skating skills, and then he ends up behind Daniel. And even Chris seemed surprised by this, which made me feel vindicated. And so his PCS was a 77.22. For whatever reason, it was behind Daniel, which doesn't make sense because Daniel equals hunching, but whatever. I mean, also his choreographed sequence overall was just beautiful. Like, Japanese nationals is going to be so amazing to watch. Please, I just need to find a VPN because I can't miss this. Like, I can't just watch the clips on the YouTube or Twitter. Like, I've got to VPN this because I need to be able to see these amazing skaters. And I also want to talk about Andrew, who came in 4th place, aka the Pizza King. You know, you're gonna have to hear me perseverate on this again, but he should have earned a bronze medal. So he still does have a potential to make it to the Grand Prix final if things kind of line up right. And so I really hope he gets to go because he deserves to go. So this has been an overall really great season for him, and he's been so consistent in these outings. And so he is making a good case for why he needs to be sent to Worlds, not just 4 continents. Let's ship him to Worlds. And as I mentioned last week in my last video, his short program is just one of my favorites, and I cannot wait to hoot and holler at this during nationals in Kansas. But also, his free program is growing on me a bit, especially when he does his like leg kick movement. Like, I think he's just overall such an enjoyable skater, and I enjoy his personality. Like, I'm intrigued by why he, the Kiss and Cry, said something to his family about money, but maybe it's an inside joke. And also, he and Brandon, they just like bro out. And I know I said this last week in my video, but I enjoy just seeing them just like wholesomely bro out together. And also wanted to talk about Matteo, who came in 5th place. So he had a fall in his short program, which was probably very disappointing for him, but I'm also disappointed because I was looking forward to kind of seeing how a clean Matteo would stack up in this competition to other skaters. But he came back strong for his free program, and I really enjoyed how much he put on his show for the crowd. Like, he was amping them up, and this crowd loved him, and I feel like that is the most I've ever seen him perform to a crowd. So I hope he makes it to Worlds because I need to see this man skate in person. And I wanted to talk about Jason Brown. I am such a major Jason Brown fan, and I'm trying so hard not to worry about his triple axels, and I'm telling myself I am being dramatic because we're just used to seeing Jason Brown at other competitions and not early in the season. But I'm hoping, like, kind of whatever is going on with it, that it is something I can work on. I don't know if it's something physical or maybe there's a mental block, but I just keep telling myself to calm down. Like, Jason's amazing, and they're probably working on it, and they're probably getting it to where he can get back to the 2022 level that he was at, because I really want to see this man get to the Olympics. Like, I just need to see that, even though I won't be at that Olympics because it's so expensive, but I want to see him at the team event getting a medal to just wrap up the millionth Olympics that he's been to, because his skating is like no other. And I get so frustrated when I see people talking about it on Twitter about how he's not taking skating seriously and XYZ because of the jumps, when his footwork and his whole entire choreography, sorry, I can't say that word right tonight, just requires so much skill. Like, if other skaters try to have his edges, they would face plant. So this is my long-winded rambling way of saying, like, I heart Jason, and I hope he can get the triple axel under his belt so that we'll get to see more of him. And lastly, I wanted to talk about Kao. This was a heartbreaking outing. Like, he had such a high from that wonderful short program with wonderful jumps, wonderful speed, and the typical Japanese skating skills that are just to die for. And he broke 100. And then I don't know what happened in the free program, but it just did not go well. And so I'm hoping that for future competitions, he's thinking about how his short program went and not the free program, because that seemed to be a fluke. And so I hope to see more of him, and I hope he goes out there and just fights. And I hope he goes to Japanese nationals so I can find, intricate ways to watch at nationals and see him. And now onto the women's event. As many of you all know, there was a Japanese sweep in this event, and it was rightfully so. And this was such an exciting event and showcased how well-rounded Japanese figure skaters are. And I know I keep saying this over and over, but I cannot wait to see Japanese nationals. Oh my God. In first place was Kaori Sakamaoto. Both of her programs were so much more refined, and she overall showed huge improvements since Skate Canada. I am incredibly proud of her because part of me worried that she wouldn't have enough time after Skate Canada to be able to make these changes, and she 100% proved me wrong. I don't know why for a second I underestimated her, because she is a fighter, but also she has the best kiss and cry reactions ever. Not only to her scores, but I think my favorite one actually is when you could see her looking and counting like 1, 2, 3 to see that the rest of Team Japan was joining her in the sweep after the short program. So her short program score surpassed Amber Glenn with a 78.93 as Amber's was a 78.14. And although she doesn't have a triple axel like Amber, her double axel is so huge and powerful. Like, I am obsessed with it. Her triple Lutz was just effortless. She just glides across the ice with so much speed. And her musicality during this program was tremendously better than it was at Skate Canada. And I like this program at Skate Canada, but oh my gosh, she one-upped it here. And she closed the program with a triple flip, triple toe, and just effortlessly, just like boom, she's in the air and down. But my favorite though was her step sequence. Like, as the program builds and even as the step sequence builds, she's able to just have more power, and she just has this powerful yet elegant step sequence, which rightfully earned a level 4. So I love this program and I can't wait to see it in person and in VPN land during Japanese Nationals. And as for her free program, Kaori finally sold me on her jazz program, and I will happily admit that I was wrong about her program. She was able to perform up to the music so much throughout this, and once again she opened up this huge double axel, and overall this program essentially required her to dance to jazz in between all of the requirements, and she was on the whole time. Like, this program really actually does not give her room to breathe. And she was able to pull it off. Like, she then flew into her triple flip, triple toe. And my favorite part actually is how much she came to life when she did her choreographic sequence. Like, she wasn't even finished with her jumps yet. Like, you know how sometimes skaters will kind of wait till they're done with their jumps, and that's when you see all this happen? No, she put on the performance and just got the audience ready to rumble with excitement when she still had jumps to go. Like, she then just flew into her final 2 jumps. And then her ending slide, I love it, but I also found her reaction endearing. Like, she'll do so many things either throughout her programs or the kiss and cry that just shows this wonderful personality. Like, she's just so delightful and fun. And I can't wait to see her at the Grand Prix final. And I can't wait to see this program even get more refined more as the season goes on. And coming in second place was Mone. So she had 2 incredibly captivating performances. Her musicality and skating skills are a dream. She did amazing here, and I can't wait to see her at Cup of China in a couple of weeks. So this program was so fun. I mean, her short program, it was so fun. Like, she had a blast throughout the whole thing, and she was able to captivate the audience and just keep up with the performance through the entire program. Like, she did not stop. And one of my favorite things is during the step sequence when she does this nod of the head. So not only did she just like dance for us essentially, but her jumps and spins were just so effortless. Like, she opened up with such a solid triple flip, triple toe combination, followed up by this graceful double axel, and had this beautiful running edge out of it. And then she concluded with a clean triple Lutz. Like, this program was amazing, and I'm so glad she got the audience up and ready to rumble. Like, they were so excited. And at first I'm like, am I going to like Donna Summer's programs? But Mone and Alyssa are really starting to show me the error of my ways, because when done correctly, it's fun. So I know I keep saying this, but I hope to see this Worlds, because I want to dance along at my seat awkwardly to this program. And for her free program, she was once again able to seamlessly blend her technical dynamic with artistic flair. Like, each of her elements were executed with such control and poise, and just her flow. Oh my God. So her transitions in and out of her jumps, they're just amazing. And it's also been so long since I've seen someone hold a spiral that I got so happy when I saw it. Like, it's been forever. And she is also one of those few skaters that's able to do one of the axel sequences and make it seem effortless. Like, other skaters, you can kind of see like a little pause there, but not with her. And also, I walked my cat up. But also, just got so excited. I forgot to mention in in one of her combinations, she does the Rapon arms and then the Tano arm. And she did it with such grace. Like, you know how sometimes skaters will do it and they just kind of like throw their arms up in the air like, whoa, here's my arm. She does it so beautifully and everything is on the music. And so I don't know how we can pick which Japanese skaters can go to Worlds. Can we just double the amount that's allowed or times 4? Like, this is so exciting for me. Sorry. Like, I know like I'm getting like over the top with this, but like Japanese figure skaters are just such a delight to watch. And in third place was Luna. Her musicality and skating skills are a league of their own. Like, both programs very clearly had the elements planned right to the music, and she's just able to get the audience engaged through the whole thing because her facial expressions just tell a story with the program. So with her short program, it was an absolutely delight to watch. Like, every single spin is perfectly timed to the music, and even like her setup for that triple flip was timed to the music. Like, everything was choreographed to perfection, down with how her arms moved. Like, this is one of those programs that's probably a lot harder than people realize because there's just so much going on in the choreography. Like, this is a great program. And for her free program, it was just as mesmerizing as her short program. But oh my gosh, do I love her dress. Like, it is one of my favorites. So her transitions and speeds, like in and out of the jumps, are just like to die for. Like, her first double axel is probably one of my favorite jumps during this program because it was just like a fairy princess had just jumped into the air and then gracefully landed it. And she makes it seem so effortless when you know that it is not. And she also managed to have amazing flow and speed into the changing direction spin, which it wasn't even obvious. Like, you know how sometimes it's so obvious, like, oh, here's this requirement. Now we've got to change the spin of the jump. Like, no, not the jump, but the spin. Like, it was just so beautifully done. And her ice coverage in this program was unreal. Like, even during her choreographic sequence, like, she had so much coverage. Like, she just took up the whole damn ice at that point. And I also loved like her step sequence. Like, that was just beautiful with some twizzles and just deep edges. And what was so precious was the audience. They were even clapping before she was finished. So I adored this program. And to be honest, I didn't even notice like the under on her triple toe loop or like the forward lean on the triple flip until I rewatched like the slow-mo, because I was that enchanted with this program. And I also wanted to talk about Alysa Liu, who came in 4th place. She was so close to the podium. I think that this time, like, her both outings were so much better. And not that she had so much to improve on with that short program since the Skate Canada. Like, I absolutely love her short program. And this is one of my all-time favorites. And I've talked about this in my Budapest Trophy video and talked about it in my Skate Canada video. But I just think she skates with such maturity in this program. And my favorite part was always going to be that spread eagle double axel outside running edge part of her program. Like, it is just to die for. As for her free program, I felt as if she really significantly improved her stamina since Skate Canada. Like, she put on a performance throughout the entire program and she was able to match that energy. And so this is another one of those programs that looks like it's deceptively easier than it probably really is, because she has to perform basically through the whole thing. And what I really loved is the audience loved it. And this makes me imagine how this is going to go on at nationals, and I'm going to probably hopefully obnoxiously clap along. But also, one thing I noticed, and I don't want to get sidetracked, but the audience all seemed to clap in unison together a lot of times throughout not just this performance but others. And it's like, is this something they choreographed together? But anyway, so I think she was underscored here. Not that I don't think the podium placements were right, but I think she could have been scored so much higher. And this actually kind of worries me a bit of how underscored she's been. And I'm hoping that this isn't a pattern. Like, I don't understand why figure skating has this bizarre momentum thing. Like, let's just score people based on how they're doing right at this moment. But anyway, I can't wait to see her at nationals. So I'm excited. I can't believe I hee-heed there. And Bradie Tennell came in 5th place here. So as we all know, she's coming back this this season after an injury, and so she's not going to be 100% the Bradie that we're used to seeing, and that's something I have to tell myself. So her short program, I don't know exactly what I was expecting, but the energy just didn't line up with the energy that's required to skate like an Irish jig. And I really felt like, this step sequence moment in such a like excited Japanese audience could have been like, they could have just thrown the roof off the place. But it just felt, a little muted. But I'm hoping as the season goes on, like, she's able to just get into it more. In her free program, she made some mistakes on her jumps, but it was still so much more improved than her last outing, and she definitely is, moving in the right direction. So she was really able to sell me on the sophistication of this program, and I can't wait to see her skate this in person at nationals, and I really hope I get to. Like, no injury, Bradie. Come on, I need to fulfill the bucket list to seeing Bradie Tennell skate in person, but, again, like I was saying, kind of rambling at this point, like she's coming back from an injury and I just need to keep telling myself that. And she's making huge progress over time. And so kudos to her. And hopefully, for the rest of the season, we just keep seeing Bradie being Bradie. And Lindsay Thorgren came in 9th place. So I adore her short program, but I was so distracted by whatever she was also equally distracted by that made her fall that was on the ice. And I still don't know if it was a hair clip or part of her costume, because you see the judge, like, or official or someone looking at it at some point and kind of looked like they folded it up. And she somehow managed to pull that program back together, like enough to where I kept wondering, is she going to low-key skate over that mystery item? Like, I was basically glued to that mystery item throughout her whole entire program. And I have no idea if it was truly hers that would warrant that costume violation, but whatever. Like, her free program showed promise. She looked like, she'd been making attempts to emote. And I think this is actually gonna like break her out of her shell and make her emote more. Her jumps looked good. So hopefully she keeps, building on the momentum here, and hopefully no more bizarre things end up on the ice. And I also want to talk about Yelim. This was a difficult Grand Prix to watch for her, and so was the last one. I'm not quite sure, why her team wanted her to go out and compete. I don't know if they felt like she was ready. They just wanted to give her that experience, but I'm just kind of worried that, like, I don't know how helpful this can be building her confidence after an injury, but hopefully she takes some time off before the next competition, and that she's just able to, build herself back up. And I also wanted to talk about Caddy, who came in 11th place here. So her short program had felt like a redemption skate, and it sold me. But then when it came to her free program, it was, again, just the jump mistakes. And I can't really figure out what has caused maybe that steady decline in her jumps. Like, there's multiple factors here, probably. But I feel like as if they need to go back to the drawing board to see what can be done. Because used to be, when I watched her, there was just so much joy. And even if she's joyful during a program now, like, it's kind of hard for me knowing that, she's going to go to the kiss and cry and just be disappointed by her score. Used to be, there would be like under rotations, but now these jumps are just steadily declining. So I really hope they kind of get to the bottom of this and make some different choices or decisions when it comes to her training. And before I wrap up talking about NHK, I want to talk about how the Japanese Federation put on a ceremony for the Japanese skaters who got silver medals at Beijing. And I absolutely loved they did this for them, because they really deserve that celebration. And I really loved here also how they had the same costumes as they had on at the Olympics. So I adore this, and I'm so glad they got that experience. And as many of us know, Luna Hendricks and Isabeau withdrew from Finlandia Trophy. As for Luna's reasoning, she came out with a statement or said in an interview that she just didn't feel ready for the competitions. Like, as more time went on for training, she felt like she wasn't progressing, and she felt like she had put a lot of pressure on herself, and she really wanted to focus on defending her European title and for Worlds. Now, as for Isabeau, they're honestly really doesn't seem to be any explanation. And it's been about a week now. God, it really feels like it's been 2 weeks since this week started. But anyway, it's been, almost a week and we haven't really heard anything. And of course, she is, welcome to her privacy. But, a lot of people are trying to speculate. There were a lot of people that were posting about how she went to travel. And this was, I think, either the day before or the day that it was announced, and trying to speculate, does this mean she left her coach? Still have no idea. But regardless, hopefully things are okay for Isabeau and that her whole season isn't ruined, or she doesn't have to sit out the whole season. Fingers crossed that she's able to, to make it to nationals and hopefully worlds. Alana Kostanaya and her husband made statements saying that they are not going to skate for 2 seasons and didn't really give an explanation, said for personal matters. So of course there's kind of the rabbit hole that we're all going down trying to figure it out. But again, they're, they have the right to their privacy. But I adore her skating and really hope that this doesn't mean it's the end of her skating. Amber Glenn, after the election, posted some things on her Instagram that just showed how much of a good person she is and how psychologically minded she is. And so it really made me have even more points than I already had with Amber. Adam Rippon made some funny Instagram posts about how he's going to make a podcast to save America. And honestly, if there's anyone that could do it could be Adam Rippon. So let's do it. And I want to give everyone a trigger warning that I'm getting ready to talk about SA. So a French news site that many French skating fans have said is very well respected and very active in presenting accuracy in their news, had interviewed Celine, and she shared some pretty damning news that is very difficult as ice dance fans to even wrap, or even just human beings in general, honestly, to wrap our heads around. So from what it sounded like, her coaching team did not report the incident to Safe Sport. And to me, I just can't understand what the reasoning behind that would be. I just don't understand. It makes me think about all the things that I have to report. And if you have a duty to report, you have a duty to report. It's better to make their report and have someone else decide, well, this shouldn't have been reported XYZ, but whatever. I'm not quite understanding why she was told that it would be reported and then she had to report it. It just doesn't add up to me. And also apparently Celine has some text messages that's going to be very, helpful in her case, but it also made me absolutely sick to my stomach just to hear the details and hear how nonchalant he sounded in the text messages. All of this is just so heartbreaking, and I'm really hoping that she gets the justice that she deserves. Just reading it, if you want to read it, just kind of have some warning that it is difficult to read and will make you just pretty heated. And I don't even know what else to say about this. I get speechless just thinking about it, mixed with rage. So she's so brave, and I'm so glad that she is doing the very difficult thing by putting that out there, because everybody needs to be aware of all the damning evidence against people. All right, y'all. Thank you for watching this video. I'm going to leave you with some pictures from my animals watching NHK with me, because we all need this wholesome cleanse that joins in on the NHK wholesome cleanse that we had. And I hope to see some of you guys at Ilya's show in Leesburg, Virginia on Friday. So feel free to say hi to me. I'll be the one awkwardly filming myself talking probably. And see you guys next week for some of that and Finlandia Trophy.